Yeah, I mean, without even really intentionally doing it, that's almost on my default go to. The America's Cup race, and you're sort of in a bit of a pit, just putting out maximum effort and slowly seeing your watts decline throughout the race. The recurring thought is not about the pain or anything like that. It's just shit, I'm letting my team down right now. Whether or not that is the actual case, but that's where my mind goes when it's in that fight or flight mode, and that's my number one fear, in those situations.
Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the Fireside podcast. I'm your host, Chris Turkington, and on the show today, we've got Marius van der Pol. Before we crack into it, a quick shout out to our mates at Dark Horse Coffee. Thanks, as always, for your support. Marius is a former NZSAS operator. He is an America's Cup winner, and he's also the current holder of the New Zealand 500-metre indoor rowing record. So, Marius, it's cool to have you on the show, man, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, cheers, Chris. Thanks for having me on board.
Well, good, man. We'll crack straight into it. So, you've been in very high-performing teams. You've worked around a lot of strong leaders. What do you see as the biggest lie that leaders tell themselves?
I mean, I'm only saying this because I'm guilty of it, but in a few instances, I've been in a leadership role. One of the early sort of, learnings that I experienced was that I felt like I had to have all the answers, and whenever there was a question, I sort of felt like I had to quickly communicate that I knew what I was talking about, even though I might not have been 100% on the money with that. And I mean, I guess I identified that probably a little bit later than I probably should have. But I mean, an example of being on the other side of that was when I joined Team New Zealand, and Ray Davies, who's a pretty legendary sailor, and he sort of earned the right to not really have to question anyone else with his thought processes. But we're all mucking in probably only a couple months into the campaign, and we're constructing what the cockpit would look like for the new America's Cup boat. And so, I was still trying to envision what they're actually talking about and how that was actually going to look. And Ray Davies is like, well, what do you think? And I just thought that really created like a massive sense of buy-in for me, and like a great leadership. Brought all team members in, regardless of their background and experience. Everyone's sort of opinion and thought processes mattered around that. So that was awesome, seeing it from having experienced it from thinking that I had to know all the answers, but then also being on the receiving end of that as well.
That's cool. And I guess, as soon as somebody that you respect's like, hey, Marius, what's your thoughts or what's your perspective? It shows trust in you, that you're seen and that you matter and that your opinion counts. So, and that's really cool. And you mentioned there around like earned the right. What do you mean by that? Because that one's perked my ears up straight away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's it's like he could have done anything that he wanted, and he would have had the justification, the backing of everyone to have done it just as he saw fit for it. But the fact that he's got the humility to sort of step back and question others and sort of be open to other opinions as well.
Yeah. And why did you and some of the other lads hold him in such high regard? What was it about him that sort of gave him that backing?
I guess he's such a legend in the sport, and just talking to him, you would never know that at all. I mean, like took over the comms department with Team New Zealand as well, and he sat down with me and gave me like a little 5-minute soldering session on how to do that, and it was just the way he talks and communicates himself. He's always got time for you, and he's. When I first started, I no doubt had my fair share of stupid questions for him, but he never made me feel like that was the case at all. So just always providing time, no matter what time and place it was.
That's cool, eh? Like, obviously a guy with heaps of mana within the sport and the environment you were operating in, and you were a new dog in that environment, but he even took the time to sit down and show you how to fucking solder something, like he didn't have to do that. And like people that do that, I think that demonstrates that they care, and that you're important. And we talk a little bit about accessing that discretionary effort on this podcast. We can go around and fucking give people orders until the cows come home, but until you do things like he's just done there and actually earn the trust and respect of people in an authentic way, you'll never have access to that layer of discretionary effort. People don't have to give it, and they certainly won't give it for someone that they don't trust or they don't think gives a shit about them.
Yeah, 100%. Mate. Learned a lot from them, man.
Yeah, nice. And what uncomfortable truth has made you a better leader, do you think? Is there anything you've had to face within yourself that probably stung at the time, but it's actually helped you to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like a lot of my career has evolved around some physicality element to it. And it's sort of when you're confronted with a problem, may not be the smartest or most efficient way to get through it, but you can usually just mongrel your way through a problem. And then, yeah, linking back to that comms piece as well, I had no experience in it at all. The role sort of got given to me just because I'd used radios in the army, but it was two completely different things. And yeah, I was just brought on in, and the whole project would needed a massive overhaul, and that was just because the boat design had changed so much. So the boat prior, they weren't exposed to the massive walls of water coming over the bow that we were on this new boat, and so all the comms were getting ripped off. And that was my first day out, and they had both Pete and Blair come up to me and said, "Look, our comms aren't working." And that was probably one of the first times in my life where I've come up to a problem where I couldn't just muffin my way through it. And then I also saw it as like that was my department. There's no one else in it, and so I took total ownership of that. But in saying that, I was failing, and it was the first time in my life that I had to try to figure out how to do it without just smashing my head against the wall. And then realizing, I guess the truth was that I had to realize that asking for help wasn't seen as failure. That's probably the most important piece I sort of took away from that. But yeah, sort of took a while to sort of get used to it, because I think we're quite proud human beings and we think that we're capable of doing anything, but you might not actually be the best person suited for the job, and identifying that at that point in time, helped me a lot in that project.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, like the military kind of grinds that into you a little bit around you should just be able to sort of toughen up, punch through it, get it done on your own type deal, like be self sufficient, self sustaining, whatever it might be. So, yeah, that's an interesting one, around that asking for help. Is that something that you've found quite difficult, or something you've had to evolve into as you've kind of matured as a leader?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be probably it's probably the last thing on my list that I'll do is ask for help. But yeah, I think as I try to get better at this, trying to identify that early and identifying those right people to reach out to as well. And usually the people are pretty receptive of providing their help, so long as they can see that you're actually, getting after it yourself. You're not just using them as a first port of call.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And like our experience in building this podcast, it's pretty new, but we've definitely found that as anyone that we've reached out to for help, they may have walked the path before or maybe encountered some things that we haven't yet. People are like incredibly generous with their time and their knowledge and their resources. I think if they can see that you're in it for the right reasons, yeah, people have been more than willing to help. And I think as well, like the more mature you get and you sort of learn a little bit more about yourself, you figure out you actually know fuck all and there's so much more to learn. And the only way that you do that is through accessing other people's knowledge base. And I think also it shows vulnerability, which builds a lot of trust, and it shows that other people are important to you. So I think it does a lot in that connection piece, and establishing strong relationships with people. They're like, oh, this guy's actually really authentic. He's coming to me telling me he hasn't got a Scooby-Doo what to do here and he needs my help. I think that flows both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I've really noticed it coming out to my new job here, and it's like the overwhelming support that everyone sort of, you haven't even spoken to that many guys in the office, and just over the time, people come up to you and they're always just checking in how you're getting on, and happy to grab coffee and spitball some ideas as well. So it's I think people are definitely keen to help, as long as your genuine intent is to utilize the help they're giving you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree, man. You've been in some pretty mean teams, SF teams, Team New Zealand, all those types of things. What's a behavior that quietly destroys great teams, in your opinion?
I mean, there's probably numerous ones, but one that sort of springs to mind for me is like micromanagement. And you're sort of kind of allowing people to own their lane, but at the same time, not really. I mean, probably a little bit of a loose example, but when we were in Barcelona, one of the America's Cup races, it was noted over the commentary that like on the boat, there's four sailors, sorry, or four guys in the boat, and four of us were part of the power unit, and the other four are the ones actually sailing the boat. Those four that are sailing the boat, they have a pretty open comms loop. It's constant chat between them, sort of creating a word picture on what's happening on the other side of the boat and also the wind conditions and tactics. And it was noted by the commentary team that our guys were, no matter what was happening, if we were in front by a mile or behind by a mile, the calm and tone, demeanor of their voice was the same throughout. You couldn't really tell if we were doing well based on our tone of voice, and it was picked up. And you could sort of see other teams trying to emulate that as well. But then when, it really came to crunch time and the pressure piled on, that broke, and it was broadcasted over one of the other guys in another team having a crack at another one of his team members, regardless of if it was his error or not. But that's sort of what I mean by, you sort of give people their lanes to own, but then you come down and smash them when they don't sort of rise to the standards that you're set for them. But I mean, no one's a harsher critic than yourself. And so I think that's sort of that micromanagement piece. If you just let people own their own lanes entirely, then they'll own it. But yeah, just giving evil in their own range, really.
Yeah, like I haven't met anybody who likes to be micromanaged. It sucks and it's a pain in the ass. And normally it's driven out of fear or, that need to control things. Normally it's just somebody who's incredibly anxious, and that sense of control makes them feel a bit more comfortable with their anxiety. But the best leaders that I've seen, man, they're very intent based. They're like, hey, this is the end state I need you to achieve. This is where I need you to get to. Here's kind of your lane as far as your decision making and things you need to consider. Get after it and just let me know how you track. And if you've got any problems, then I'll try and remove some of those roadblocks for you. But those are the good ones, eh? They don't tell you how. They tell you where you need to get to, and then it's up to you to figure out the course to get there, because there's so many ways to skin a cat, and you don't need someone standing over your shoulder telling you blow by blow how to skin that cat, right? You figure it out for yourself. And it makes you a better leader as well, and a better operator, because you'll try some things, you'll probably stuff them up, and you're like, okay, that didn't work, and you'll try something else. All of that problem-solving, decision-making that you get only when you're given autonomy to operate.
Yeah, I feel like almost the more they try to probably perceive in their eyes, assist you with the micromanagement piece, it's almost taking away the accountability, because you've just got someone calling the shots all the time, and you're just like, well, I'm not even going to start thinking for myself because I'm being told everything, so it takes that piece away as well.
Yeah, hard out, and it just screams, I don't trust you, or you're not good enough. Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully you're enjoying the episode. If it's landing with you, then you can check us out at www.aegisleadership.co.nz, or you can find us on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Thanks very much to our mates at Dark Horse Coffee, and from here we'll get back to the show. I'm curious, you spoke about the tone, so these dudes that are, Blair Chuk and those guys, I'm assuming you're talking about?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So they're operating this boat in a really high pressure situation, right? It's dynamic, it's complex, there's a lot going on. They're communicating constantly, which makes perfect sense. That calm in the voice, is that something that was intentional? Did you guys train that? Or was that just a matter of everyone was really comfortable within their role and knew what needed to happen?
Yeah, it'd probably be a bit of both. I mean, the way the team was broken up, like we had the sailing department and we had the power unit, and although we were on like this boat at the same time racing together, on shore we were quite separate. We were obviously in the gym a lot more, and they were sort of more along the lines of gaming in the simulator.
You guys just be squatting, the whole time?
Yeah, holding iron chair.
Nasty.
But yeah, so they spend a lot of time together. They're generally good friends outside of that environment as well. A lot of mutual respect for themselves. But yeah, so I can't speak for them if it was an intentional part of it, but it was very much a very influencing part of the whole team. And I mean, another example of that was when the campaign beforehand, we're going out the boat. I mean, I hadn't spent that much time in that sort of caliber of racing, and we were going out and started to peel over a little bit more than what we were hoping for. And as we were going over, Pete Burling's came over the comms like, all right, boys, we're going over, adjusting those words. And that was to sort of set the tone for the whole recovery of it. No one panicked, and everyone was very calm and stuck to their drills. And yeah, I mean, that for me, like, as soon as it's not a nice feeling when you, especially when you're on the leeward side of the boat and you got this massive mainsail coming down over top of you, and your little gap between the water and air just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen, but just having sort of Pete say that and that tone to sort of set you one at ease, particularly myself. So
Yeah, that's so good. And leaders can take so much out of that around a lot of the time. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And tone's a big part of that. If the leader comes into the room and they've got to give you some information and you can hear that anxiety in their voice, the stress, that just spreads through their team like wildfire. But if the leader comes in, they're like, hey, lads, ladies, this is going to suck, but we've got it covered straight away. You're like, okay, all right. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like they're not sugarcoating it all, but the tone in their voice and that pitch, you're like, yeah, we've got this covered. They're comfortable. We're going to be all good.
yeah,
Just little things like that.
yeah. Again, sorry to sort of keep going about the cup stuff, but there's just so
Do
many
not be
examples of
sorry,
this.
man. You go on until the cows come home.
Yeah. And yeah, when in the Barcelona America's Cup, when we came back and we lost two races back to back, wasn't a great day for us. But yeah, I was asked Nathan Outeridge of like, man, like what was that about? Because I mean, we got our head down, just putting out watts. We didn't have a huge idea what was actually going on. And he said, "Look, man, there just wasn't a few things went wrong, but there's a lot of learnings out of it, which is awesome. And the boat's going well, we're going well. And he was just like, just sort of treated it as a bit of a training day for him. And then when we hopped off the boat, one of the shore crew guys came up to me. You could sort of see he was like quite tensed up because these guys put in massive hours and sacrifice a lot, time away from their kids and families and whatnot. And so seeing that result quite early on wasn't great if you sort of see it from the outsider point of view on TV. I said, no, look, Nathan said this is this, and a lot of learnings, and you get to see his whole demeanor just changed, and I'm sure that trickle down effect would have just gone through the whole team as well. So it's amazing how that little interaction can just spread through.
Yeah, it's just a flicking mindset, And it's you still acknowledge, hey man, yeah, like some shit happened there. It didn't go the way we wanted it to necessarily. But these things went well. We did this well. We did this well. We did this well. We'll make those changes and things will be better the next time we run it out. Like it's small, but that shift in your verbiage and in your mindset, that has a huge effect on people. Acknowledge, yeah, it was pretty shit, but we actually did these things well and we know what we need to improve for next time. You're like, fuck, it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. If mistakes happen for the first time, sweet. It's a learning opportunity. Just don't ever happen again.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I've been lucky to work for some really good commanders and bosses, and in some pretty shit situations, they'll do the same thing. They own it. They'll come in and be like, hey, man, this is a shit situation. It's going to suck probably for a while, but it's all good. We're going to do this, this, and this. And if we do those things well, the rest will take care of itself. And everyone in the team's just like, yeah, okay. It's so good. You've had to do some pretty hard shit, man. And that's the understatement of the century. Obviously, selection for SF, America's Cup, absolutely beasting yourself on the erg, which you seem to like doing for a bit of a laugh. But what are some tough conversations you've had to have with yourself? Because you're going to go to some dark places in those particular pursuits. Yeah, any conversations that stand out that you've had to have with yourself that have been tough ones?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be like, it's not a particularly hard conversation, but it's probably for myself as relative. Yeah, I mean, when I was probably 9 years old running across country, I just hated being anyone that was sort of seen doing anything that wasn't the grey man. And so, I was out running this cross country and faked the trip up and just waited for everyone to sort of get past me and just sort of stuck in the middle group and finishing that race and then seeing the kid who won, pretty stoked with himself and running around with a medal on his chest. I was like, oh, that'd be cool to be that guy. But at the same time, I wasn't willing to put myself out of that mid pack and risk trying to be that guy. So that point in time in my life, I was particularly, that just wasn't worth the risk reward for me. And then I don't know why, but it wasn't until many years later when I was in the military that I was reflecting on that piece and be like, oh, fuck it, I am going to be that guy. And then that's probably when, yeah, fortunate enough to have a great mate, still a great mate now, go through the whole putting in your nom for the selection piece as well. And that was really the first time. And to be fair, I don't know if I would have done it if it hadn't been for him. So I do credit my mates were going through with me in that process. And then that was probably the catalyst for that change in mindset around sort of not wanting to be the middleman. But it was, yeah, I mean, I had probably for about 10 years or so, probably held me back from what I potentially could have been doing. But, yeah.
What was the risk, man? Like, why did you want to be the grey man, middle of the pack? Like, what were you afraid of? Did you get down to that level of reflection?
That's just a shy kid. Essentially, that's all it came down to, really. I mean, I don't particularly like throwing myself out in the middle of the dance floor either still now, but I just keep throwing myself into opportunities to put myself out there, regardless of there's end goal at all, but just to sort of get myself exposed to that scene. And it slowly is getting easier. Doesn't make it enjoyable, but
I think your window of tolerance just increases, Like at the start, if you're pretty introverted and you're whatever it might be, afraid of judgment, afraid of failure, probably all of that, you mix it into a pot. You got a really tight window of tolerance for putting yourself out there. The more you do it, it just increases. And yeah, you just have a larger window of tolerance for the discomfort of putting yourself out there. I'm the same, man. Like everything, whether I come across confident or not, I don't know. And I actually don't care anymore. But it's all trained. It's all learned. Like, through my military training, specifically my PDI training, that's very people-centric. I know you've come across a lot of PDIs in your time, probably hate them like everybody else. But like that is a skill set. And literally that started from yelling at a cone. I just had to give directions to an orange road cone on the ground for like weeks. And when I was good enough with the cone, then they allowed me to have a tree. And when I was good enough with the tree, then I got one person, then two people, then 5, 10, whatever. So whether this looks confident or not, I don't know, and I don't care. But that is years of skill set and just increasing that window of tolerance over time. So now, if I had to go up in front of a big group, let's say I go to Rev'd tomorrow or whatever, and they're just like sweet as Turks, jump up on the stage and give a keynote, I'd still be shitting myself, but my window of tolerance is big enough that I could probably rip something off the cuff. But you don't just get that overnight. Like that's years of exposure, eh?
Yeah. No, 100%. I've got a real bad habit of saying yes to things I don't want to do. But yeah, it's slowly paying off.
Yeah, man. And look at you now. You're on podcasts much bigger than this one and putting yourself out there. So it's fucking cool, even though you're afraid of it. Afraid's maybe the wrong word, but it makes you nervous. Can I ask, your mate, obviously you said he was the catalyst for you putting in your nom to go and do SAS selection. What was it about that act that allowed you to move forward?
I mean, yeah, but you'll be aware of this in the military, but it's almost like when you're, I mean, I could be wrong, but it sort of felt from my point of view that if you put your hand up to go up north and have a crack at selection, it's almost like you're saying subtly to your peers in whatever that you're better than them. And I know a lot of the guys, like we were quite fresh on the scene in the infantry, and some of the guys have been there for a while, and some of them were super supportive. Something like stoked that we're having a go. But then also a lot of the guys are just like, look, man, you got to get some more time up, and it's something that they probably would like to have done themselves, but just never did it. And I remember we both walked into our HQ, put in our noms, and one of the guys, the lance corporals actually laughed and walked out of the office. And then on our return, after we'd passed, we were just sitting outside HQ, and then another guy came out and said, "Oh no, like what day did you get to?" We went, "No, we finished." And he's like, "Hey, yeah." So that was that piece really.
It's incredible, eh? And I don't. That's not just the military. I think that's Kiwi culture. Tall poppy syndrome's rife in this country, and I have talked about it a little bit on this podcast. It's something that pisses me off, and something I'm very mindful of is that people are almost afraid to put their hand up to strive for something because they're afraid of getting ridiculed or being judged or whatever it might be. But I think that the more I've walked that road, I'm just like, who fucking cares? Like, people are going to judge you anyway. You may as well have a crack. The time's going to go anyway. You may as well, like, do you want to have the pain of discipline or the pain of regret when it's all said and done? And regret's permanent. You can't undo that shit. And like, I don't want to get to the end and die wondering and not have a crack in any given domain. So that is enough to basically circumnavigate what might happen if you put your hand up. And like I've had some amazing advice from people that I respect, and they're like, hey, if you go and build this brand or build this podcast, you've got all these romantic ideas that your mates will be patting you on the back and people will be supporting you the whole way. And it's just not the case, man. Like, most people either don't give a fuck, or it holds up a mirror to their inaction. So they actually want to see you fail, or
Yes.
in anything in between, bro. A lot of the time they'll just project their own insecurities onto you, because when you go and get it done, that's removed a lot of their excuses, right? And they're like, they can either look at themselves or they can blame you or put things on you or blame external factors. So yeah, it's something that me and Rich, my business partner, have really come to grips with, is if you try to do anything great in this country, you're going to cop some heat for it. And that's just all part of the eating glass process. I think that's the cost to entry, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, and I think there's, so that quote, the man in the arena as well. Like, if you're not in there, you got no right to judge either. So
yeah. Because I did at the start. I like had all these little romantic notions that, oh yeah, all my mates and all our friends will follow the podcast, and they'll be real supportive of the business and stuff. And they're not bad people. It's not a dig at my mates or anything like that. But they've got their own lives, their own priorities. People are busy. Like, no one actually gives a fuck. And when you think about it, that's really freeing. Because a lot of the things we're afraid of is being judged, or what are people going to talk when I fail, or whatever it might be. No, they won't. They're too consumed with their own shit.
yeah.
So why wouldn't you have a go? That's kind of how I see it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's shit. It's still shit. It's that way though. I just think it's shit. That's me. What standard will you never compromise on, Marius?
I think like self-discipline. I think it just feeds into absolutely everything in life. And I mean, there's a Jocko quote, like, discipline is freedom. It sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but it's the opposite. So you're putting the work while no one else is, but when the time comes down to the time to perform, then you're going to be, excelling where they're going to be found wanting. So, I mean, as basic as, training, like, no one sees you sort of like getting out there in the dark and running before the kids wake up and stuff like that. But then, when it comes time where you want to go running with your kids and you're in your late 40s or 50s, you got the body to keep up with them and push them as well.
Yeah, just doing iron chairs in your bedroom, eh? I know you do. You absolutely love it. And they suck. Yeah, they suck. We used to get them as punishments all the time, eh? Not good. Anyway, discipline. Like, people throw discipline around all the time. You just got to be more disciplined, man. Like, what does discipline actually look like for you? What is discipline? What does it actually look like for you day to day?
I guess just having those standards where they don't really change regardless of setting or who's there, who's looking, what time it is, how you're feeling. It's just a solid structure that you just stick to no matter what. I wake up in the morning and it's cold and you're tired, and the last thing you want to do is get out of bed and go for a run. But like you're saying before, that pain of not getting up, it just sets you. Like, I've failed enough times of not getting up to know that it's just not worth it. That pain lasts throughout the whole day. You just feel shit. You've from the first moment you woke up, you let yourself down, and so that's what gets me up in the morning. It's not that I particularly want to. I just know that pain is so much worse for not doing that.
Yeah, the inner bitch, that inner voice wins. That wins first thing in the morning. That's a tough loss to take. And it's like, a lot of the times after you do the thing, you feel amazing. Like you've said, you go for a run or you hit the gym or whatever. Afterwards, you feel $1 million. You're like, why would I not do this? I feel amazing. But then you give into comfort. You're like, oh, nah, it's a bit cold outside today, Marius. You don't need to go for the run. But then the cost of that is you feel like shit and lethargic for the whole day. So, that little moment of perceived comfort afterwards you feel terrible. It's like, oh, go have yourself a Big Mac combo or whatever. Oh yeah, I really feel like a Big Mac combo. And then after it, you feel terrible. You feel sluggish and disgusting, whereas if you had just made a good discipline choice around have something that's healthy or whatever, afterwards you feel $1,000,000. Like, yeah, it's funny when you think of it like that.
Yeah, I think we live in like an age of comfort, and it's just you need a little bit of mongrel in your life to sort of keep you alive as well.
Yeah, that's one of my large list of work-ons. Is I think I let myself off the hook too easily.
Yeah,
I'll same thing. Like I'll be sore. I'm old now. I'll be sore or tired. Be like, nah, you don't need to go to the gym, or you haven't got time to go to the gym. And then afterwards, I'll go through that process of beating myself up. Like, you took the easy way out there, man. You didn't need to do that. You could have made 20 minutes, do some intervals. Like, yeah,
yeah.
and with my diet as well, I'm terrible in that department. I'm like, I let myself off the hook too easily. Love pizza, love everything. So love ice cream. Yeah, it's an area I
Oh,
need
you
to do
just
better.
keep getting back bandwagon away.
That's it. Yeah, and that's one thing around. I was talking with Moo recently the other day. Moo Moffat. Obviously, I've got a lot of respect for him, and yeah, and James Jensen as well. Another guy I really respect, and they're just like the constant pursuit of excellence. It's the pursuit. It doesn't mean you'll ever attain it, and you probably won't, but that's okay because if you're always
Never ending.
yeah, it's never ending. If you're always shooting for 100%, 90%'s a fucking good score, man. 95% is a fucking good score. Yeah, and I find myself in that pursuit. I want to be excellent in everything that I do, knowing that I won't, and knowing that I'm going to miss a bunch. And that's all par for the course because you just nailed it there as I can always have another crack tomorrow. I can always do better the following day.
Yeah, 100%.
So, what do you reckon the fastest way to lose trust is, Marius?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen it too many times, but when it has happened, I think it's pretty detrimental. I mean, trust is so hard to earn, and it only takes a bit of a slip up for it to sort of disappear. And that's I mean, a few examples seen with like undermining others because you feel threatened by their success. I guess it sort of links into your tall poppies scenario before when I've seen guys who are threatened, their position is threatened by someone else, and so they'll behind the scenes start deconstructing their castle quietly, and that's seen that someone put themselves their own values above the value of the team. In my eyes, is pretty horrific.
Yeah. And it's just like the easy way out, eh? Like instead of putting in the work and doing the self reflection to get up to that person's level, you just try and rip them down to yours. Like, yeah, I just detest that.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it's absolute bullshit.
instead of succeeding because you put the work in, you're succeeding because you're undermining others. It's a pretty pathetic way to go about it.
I agree. I think it must be super hollow. Like, do you not think once you get to wherever you want to go using that method, you get there and you're like, oh man, the only reason I'm here is just because I shit on a whole bunch of people and I was real dishonest and underhanded. Do you think you'd get to
Yeah.
the end and be really proud of that? Like, it must be a hollow place to get to, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess those sorts of people who do that probably don't have that reflection aspect quality. And maybe success means that much to them that they'll get there by whatever means.
Yeah, I guess so. And then, you've worked in some really high performing teams, the highest performing teams, arguably. Um, the people that you trusted the most, what did they all have in common as far as behavior traits, characteristics, those types of things?
I mean, for me personally, I have been fortunate enough to just being what I felt like at the time was be a bit of a wild card. Um, I felt that people took a punt on me based on potential rather than, I guess, like track record. Um, and what that did for me was it made me incredibly driven to prove that person's bet was well placed. rather than being given an opportunity because they expect something of you, being given an opportunity because they know you're capable of doing it, even though they had no real grounds to base that on, other than their perception. So, a few opportunities like Team New Zealand, my job now, I felt like I've been, bets being placed on me with no real grounds to it, other than the fact that it's just sort of given me the real purpose and drive to make sure that I pay that back tenfold.
Yeah. And that drive to just not let people down, that's what it sounds like to me, is you just don't want to let people down. Has that been a bit of a catalyst to your success and a lot of the things that you've done?
I mean, without even really intentionally doing it, that's almost on my default go-to when we've been, in the America's Cup race, and you're sort of in a bit of a pit, just putting out maximum effort and slowly seeing your watts decline throughout the race. The recurring thought is not about the pain or anything like that. It's just shit, I'm letting my team down right now, whether or not that is the actual case. But that's like where my mind goes when it's in that fight or flight mode, and that's my number one fear when I'm in those situations.
Yeah, that definitely fuels me and burns me, as well as I just don't want to let people down. The people down around me or that are reliant on me or whatever it might be, I don't want to let them down. I don't know whether that's a military thing or whether we are that way and that's why we were drawn to the military. I don't know why, but I spoke to Mark Doreen, his episodes on the podcast. Ex-Australian SAS guy, he's a legend, but got blown up by an IED. I think I've already mentioned this, and then that was his number one driver for getting back to operational service in 6 months, which blew my brains out. It's just like, man, that's ridiculous. He just didn't want to let his mates down. That was the driver. I was just like, fuck, man, that's pretty strong, eh? That's a high level of trust and mutual respect.
No, it's next level, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So people that are listening to this, leaders, whatever it might be, if they could change one thing tomorrow to really push the needle forward, what would it be in your opinion?
Or you have to link it back to what I just mentioned, because I felt that was absolutely pivotal in my life. Is take a punt on that potential rather than on proved talent. You sort of empower that individual that you've given the opportunity to do really well, or to at least give it a massive crack anyway.
So, as a leader, identify someone who you see a lot of potential in, and open a door for them, give them a chance to give it a crack and to succeed.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great one to finish. And anyone who wants to connect with you, Marius, or see what you're up to these days, where's the best place to find you?
I guess probably LinkedIn would probably be the one I check most regularly, which is maybe once a month. So, yeah.
Anywhere else, or is it just on the LinkedIn? Do you have a website or anything like that?
No website. Instagram exists, but it may as well shouldn't. But yeah, LinkedIn's all good.
Yeah, just maintaining that grey man status. I like that. It's nice.
Well, I can't be bothered, but yeah.
Fair enough. It's not the priority, is it? It's not out there running and hitting the gym. I totally get it.
Yeah, I just don't see the point. I mean, a little bit off topic, but yeah, wife asked me to get Instagram when we first started dating, just so I could follow what she was doing when she went on those travels, and then after she came back, I just don't know why I have this anymore. So, yeah.
Fair enough, man. You do you. If it works for you, then all good.
Yeah.
Thanks for the chat, Marius. I've enjoyed it. It's been really cool.
No, good, Chris. Thanks very much for having me. It's been awesome chatting. Cheers.
All good. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that, then you can check us out at www.aegisleadership.co.nz, or you'll be able to find us on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Cheers to our mates at Dark Horse Coffee. We really appreciate you guys. Catch you next time.